this is your image, your public relations flashy program on TV. We started this discussion on political campaign speeches, what PR recipes. This time around, we will continue with Dilayodo, who wants to give us some factors on how opinions do work. But before that, we will be looking at political campaign proper. We will be coming up with the general election that will be happening on the state, presidential, senatorial, and the House of Reps, even the state assembly. We want to look at what will be the public relations approach that must be profiled and must be embraced. Our politicians, how are they prepared? Are they ready to adopt PR strategies, to organize properly, to mount the rostrum and deliver as expected? Mr. Dilayodo, let me begin with you. We are talking about some factors that can help things to work. So you have the stage now.
Of course, there are two arms or two legs of this journey, the campaign journey. The first leg is the political primary that we've just seen. A singular party or a single party had, I think, 28, reduced to 25, eventually reduced to 18 aspirants. At the general election, the stage we now know, the principal actors, they are not going to be more than 18 this time around, so we can begin to assess them. Now, I did mention those two vital things that I saw played a major role at the primaries. One is who the leader says we should vote for. I'm telling you that was already known by every person who wants to thumbprint or sign or vote. As it was, they already been told. It's not who you want to vote for at that time. It's who the leader says we should vote for. And principally, did that come to play? That's exactly, I'm telling you, I have empirical evidences of this.
That is a major factor.
I have empirical evidences of particularly those two major political parties. I followed the two. I studied it. It's basically, and it was helped because we have already reduced the number of those who are going to vote for Femi, for instance, to 3 by local government, not those who are PBCs, like the general election. So Femi knows the 3 that will vote for him, and we can sample, we can conclude where those 3 will vote for. That is why it was easier for political mathematicians to conclude that of APC, to conclude that of PDP. This is where the votes were. We did the calculation state by state, geographical zone by geographical zone, and allocated votes. And that was what happened. The variance was not more than 5.2% of what we did as the calculation. So that's the first one. And of course, the decision of who the leader runs is now divided into 2 principal dimensions. The first one is the one that my 2 brothers, colleagues and friends dodged. Dollarization. How heavy the person has dumped some papers in my pockets. I said papers. I didn't say in my pocket. And of course, the other one is what will be my individual, personal gain. I know Femi is my brother. I know his home. I know his homestead in Ogtv. I know his wife. I know everywhere. So there is no way he can say he doesn't know me. So if I give him my name, it's easy for him to put me in the board or whatever. That's the other decider.
But that is politics.
No, we're talking about the deciding factors. I'm not saying anything is wrong. Just like when the governor of Rivers State was crying that there was betrayal. And if you are not betrayed, you have betrayed somebody at a point in time. So that's part of the tactics for winning the election. I agree. I'm not saying, but we are identifying, like our own job we do, what are those factors, so that those who want to do any amend will know what to do. So that's for the primary, but that's not the stage. It's not the argument when you get into the main election that they will be moving to. So you need a different tactics. I say to you, I am aware that sometime in 2007, one of these governorship candidates imported a speechwriter from the United States of America. He imported somebody to come and take him through the art of public speaking. That's the stage we are walking into now. So where technocrats, people like Femi, people like Dara and yourself will check where you dotted the I's and you cross the T's. And if you did not do it appropriately, we make issues out of it. That won't take any effect during the primary, but it will begin to take effect. How did you answer the question on road, on education? It begins to take effect. It begins to count on the points you are scoring. So that's where they will now need experts, people who are in it, people who've been doing it, to take them through,
so Femi,
to guide them.
When you reflect, when you look back into how things have been done over the years, purpose of this program is to let the politicians understand the rudiments of public relations, the effects, the impact, and what it tends to achieve for individual, the nation, and in the general interest of the citizens. You are a PR expert. How, first of all, assess what has been happening. Does it meet the expectation of the PR professionals? And what recipe do you now advocate?
Well, okay, now let me try to answer the first aspect of that question. If we do an evaluation of what had happened during the primaries, to a large extent, I want to say that, or agree with Darren, that we really didn't perform poorly, to me. Even in some advanced countries where ideologies, political ideologies hold sway, before they go to primaries and even when they go to elections, it is these ideologies that will determine how people would vote. Not necessarily one candidate from another ideological spectrum or platform speaks well or not. That is why, for instance, conservatives will always, if you do projections, that they would likely vote when you are determining how they will vote in the assembly, on the parliament. You are likely to know that, okay, conservatives will vote this way on this matter because it will appeal to them in this manner. You can also determine how the Democrats will also vote. So the same thing is happening here in Nigeria. And that is why I do not want to really totally agree that money and all that was the most determining factor. No, because you even see a contradiction. When delegates are going to Abuja, they already have political leaders who have told them this is where we are going. Once they get there, no matter how much dollars somebody else will give you, you dare not leave what your political leader has told you to do and then go and say, because I collected money. Anything can happen to you. If you succeed in going this time around as a delegate, you can be sure that next time you may not be able to have that opportunity. So to that extent, I think we have not performed poorly. These are things that will happen at that level of the political party structure because much of the things are controlled. But now that we are going into election proper and where each of the political parties and even candidates cannot control, they have limited control now over how people will decide what they want to vote for, what will influence them to vote, and who they will vote for. Therefore, there's a need to be conscious, to be mindful of how you want to portray yourself. What kind of image are you taking to the public? This is a time to find technocrats, people who can write speeches, good speeches for you, speeches that will appeal to the interest of the people, speeches that will address issues, speeches that can earn votes for you. I'm not saying that you must just always look for issues that, things that will appeal to sentiment, because that may fail somewhere along the line. But let people know that, well, we may not be able to do this, but the reality is that we would be able to do A, B, C, D. It's not the case of just saying we will do everything, like some people will say, no. You just have to, at this point in time, now begin to look at, well, we may not be able to do all because the resources are limited. But we can assure you that we are going to address basic issues, fundamental issues, and these are the things that we must take on from here. We must ensure that the candidates have people who can write good speeches and prepare their speeches. They also must be prepared to present those speeches in such a way, because it's one thing to do good speeches. It's another thing for somebody to just leave your speech somewhere and then begin to attempt to speak extempore. And then in the process of doing that, you derail entirely and you begin to say certain things which may not really work. So you must know your capacities as candidates and be able to say, okay, I may not be able to speak extempore as much as I would have loved. I'm not an orator, but once you have your speech, you can read it and then speak to it as much as possible.
Darius, thank you so much, Dokumu. Beyond speeches, what are the other recipes that must come into play?
Well, first, I would like to appeal to all our politicians to make use of the professionals. There are so many quacks out there, and if you allow quacks to handle your image, you have problems. There are technocrats, there are people who are well versed in, image management, and there are people who are well versed in the messaging. Now is the messaging, how you couch your messages, and how you present your message to the people, how you inspire hope. You will agree with me that hope is something that is receding in Nigeria. So the messaging needs to inspire hope, so that Nigerians can see that you have the man with a plan. You have a plan that will take them out from the doldrums, and you have a plan that will solve the power problem that we have in the country. We have various issues that should be spoken to, that should be addressed. So we expect politicians to make use of the professionals. This will, it will add value to their campaigns. The optics too. There are experts who will look at you. We look at the colors that come out on you, the way you dress, the way you package yourself. It's the total packaging. It is a commodity. You are now a commodity that we want to take to the electorate. So that the packaging is the total makeup. How you speak, how you conduct yourself, where you go. So all these things. Understanding
the culture, behavior, and
nuances of
the areas you are going to campaign.
Appeal to the audience, what to do. So please make use of the professionals who are here. We are available for you.
Well, thank you so much. I want to go back to and I begin to look at why is it that in the Western world we have situations where speech counts a lot, and it is seen as a motivating factor of earning votes from the electorates. Look at Obama's speech. And we can continue to mention so many other world leaders' speeches that earned them the votes. I remember one, I think it was in Zimbabwe, that a woman too was moving around doing one-on-one campaign, telling them the difference she could make. And eventually, she beat the popular opponent. What is the role of some critical points? You remember Jonathan, who said that he wasn't with shoes and all that, and that got him emphasized. Okay. And eventually, those people who never had shoes, or who are still managing.
Well, this is one of us, so we should align with him.
Yes, and they align with him. Probably that one it. So, your take.
Again, thank you. I think my brother Femi Dokumu has answered.
You like Femi so much.
He has answered. No, you see, I like to operate from the realms of realism,
right,
not just idealism. Okay. Here in Nigeria, particularly Nigerian politics, there is no idealism. There is no idealism. Or else, if it is, let me just say, there are two separate lines in advanced country democracy. In the United States, the Republican is very different from the Democrat. In the British system, the conservatives are very different. We have those that in Russia, they are very different. In Israel, you can know, if I'm for this party, you know what I stand for. That remains what I stand for. It's good. That is the norm. But Nigerian politics is a situation where the norm becomes an abnormality. I'll give practical examples. I talk of federalism. How will it have happened that we have a governorship candidate who deliberately failed to appear in any public debate, refused to have a one-on-one interview with any media, and yet become the governor of the state? I traveled 2014 or 20, when the second term of Fayemi, throughout the 16 local governments in the Ekiti state. Fayemi performed. There was nowhere where I didn't see the hand of Fayemi. And you know what the people were saying? He speaks grammar too much. We don't want somebody who speaks grammar. And Fayose came with the so-called stomach infrastructure. So Fayose swept away. In Kwara State, there was a man called Dele Begori, SAN, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who wanted to be governor of Kwara. He lost that election. Do you know what was the public talk why he lost?
So what?
He's a lawyer. He's going to be too strict. He speaks like Raji Fashola. So it is the abnormality that is the norm in Nigeria. So it's a different, that's the realism about it. Fortunately, yes, I agree, the public speeches is moving to another stage. But I tell you, any candidate who goes into, say, the midst of professionals, we have Association of Professionals, APBN, and addresses them, and he chooses to go to Kuto, or in the case of presidency, area market in Abia or Chanja, and speaking in the same way he spoke with Association of Professionals, he has failed.
Yeah, you must understand your public.
You understand? He has failed. And vice versa, if he speaks the way he speaks in Kuto, to those people they will look at him as a nincompoop. That is the reality of Nigerian politics. So we cannot say a specific standard for public speeches will be said. I agree, as professionals, as civilized people, we have done our bit, we have done our best. We do the analysis of what they've said, we explain it, we let the public know. This is the import and implication of what he has said on this subject matter. But believe it, those who will vote for me as an identified thief will vote for me. I will not vote for Femi, who they seen as a clean professor.
Thank you very much.
That is the reality.
It is well. It is well. Femi,
yes.
Looking beyond speeches, now connecting with the people, talking about physical engagement with what we call stakeholders in public relations. Which way forward?
Okay, now let me also...
For all the politicians now, how should the PR person be involved?
Now, thank you, Akin. Now, you see, that it looks like I and Dele really gels on some of these issues.
Okay.
I like where he talked about the need for segmentation of the audience, of your receivers. You know, those who are going to receive your message. You need to segment them to know their background. What are their frames of reference? What are their characteristics? What is the level of their understanding? So you don't go and begin to speak big grammar to the woman in the market or the people in the market. To that extent too, you must also look at, whenever you are going on campaign, who are the set of people I am going to meet? Analyze them before you go out. What are their expectations, their characteristics, so that when you get there, you can just come down to their level and be seen as part of them, and then be on the same page with them. Yes,
their language.
Just like Dele said, that there was a difference between Fayose and Fayemi on the basis of how they interacted with the people.
How they connect.
That is why, even in Nigeria, you will discover that during when we are going towards elections, some people want to identify with the grassroots. So you will see a professor going to buy roasted corn or boli, stopping over and buying boli and sitting down with them. And even in Ogun State, there you see somebody going to an Alamala junction and whatever it is. You know, all this is in the attempt to be seen as part of those people belonging to them, you know, and that is important. Identifying with them, and that is very, very important. So public relations professional must also ensure that whoever is the candidate, even if he himself or herself cannot understand it to that level, they should be able to give that to them. So as we are going into the various campaigns, they should be able to segment their publics and then determine how best to identify with them. There mustn't be any disconnect. Once you are disconnected with the people, then you've lost it. They will be afraid to even agree with you. Once they say a professor, the first question is, can we go to his house? Can I go and tell him that my child is going to school, so please I need your assistance? Is it a politician that has written in, at his gate, beware of dogs, and people cannot come around to you? So you must make yourself available to the people.
Thank you very much, Femi. Dari. There has been a serious challenge, an obvious challenge that public relations practitioners, firms have been confronted with, and that is getting clients. Clients, to me, may be ignorant of who to go to.
That's why we have programs like these to tell them, you know, the things that are available, you know, the skills that are available. You know, that's why the PR Primus magazine is one veritable platform that politicians can use, you know. People PR, the NIPR at the state level, at the national level.
What is the reach?
At the national level, these are platforms that they can use to in the messaging. You know, we were discussing the other time, and I said that the messaging must be important because it is the same problem that we are facing. You know, we want to take it further. In 2023, you know, it's not, all this gimmick will no longer work.
Let me quickly draw you back. I specifically ask you, for a magazine of that nature, what are the potentials or what are the benefits derivable? Is it international?
Oh, okay. It's international because now the world is a global village. You know, you can use the platform to reach people, but the audience is Nigeria, and Nigeria is Nigeria that they want to govern. So, to reach the people across pan-Nigeria, you know, you can use this platform. Then, the professionals are there.
What are the networks? What are the networks available?
Oh, all the platforms. You know, the Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, all the platforms, all the social media platforms. They are there, and if they get the right professionals, they will help you in your messaging. I talked about messaging. It's very, very important. It's just the language that will be, you know, the language will resonate with the people. Then the jingles too. We've had good jingles, the jingles too will resonate with the people. It will connect and it will sell you, it will sell you to the people. So avail yourself of the services rendered by professionals.
Perhaps I may need to just add that such a platform can be of good interest and a patronage in the sense that the people, the PR people that will be involved will be such people that will help in connecting you, identifying those areas of need where you can connect, where you can expose to, those people that will be beneficiaries of your good deeds, and those things will come to play. It will be used on different platforms, and personal contact, relationship will be achieved. So in a way, it is a good platform, you are saying.
Yeah, also for research and opinion polls.
I know. Your last bite.
Well,
very short.
I just want Nigerian politicians to play the game, be civil, get matured, and act in a manner that we will all be proud of what you say.
Yes, I think at this point in time, candidates don't have to remain silent as if they have been arrested for offenses. This is the time for them to speak out, and they must engage professionals in doing this.
Your take?
They should address the issues and bring up solutions to our problems.
The media, what should they be their position?
Oh, the media is always there. We will know what to do. The media will be proactive in reporting the activities and project the right candidates.
The media will be there to project you, to ensure that various segments, stakeholders are connected with, and your views, your opinion, your aspirations, and the dividends of democracy can be promised. And at the same time, dividends too can be seen when it has been delivered. Your past experience, your past connections will work for you. This is the time to connect with your image program on TV. We are available for advert, sponsorship, and we can take you to the communities. We can take you everywhere. Join us on this program every Thursday. Viewers, we are happy you are with us always. Thank you so much. Until next week, where we come with another topic, I say bye.